A bill seeking to create a sovereign wealth fund is being tackled at the House of Representatives. But some economists say now is not the right time. Flight reassignments at the NAIA have taken effect today. Airport officials also scrapped initial security inspections at the Terminal 1. Pag-asa expects 2 more cyclones to enter the Philippines by year-end. Focused and fearless. Here's a roundup of stories we're watching now. I'm Sean Yao. Finance Secretary Ben Diokno says that President Bongbong Marcos is in full support of the proposal to create a sovereign wealth fund. Marian Enriquez with the details.
The House Committee on Banks and Financial Intermediaries has already approved in principle the proposed bill seeking to create a sovereign wealth fund that will be called Maharlika Investment Fund. A technical working group has been formed to fine-tune the measure. The objective of the MIF is to pool funds from government financial institutions and channel them to diversified investments such as bonds, foreign currencies, stocks, and even commercial and real estate projects with the end goal of achieving financial gains and ensure profitability. Among the 5 lawmakers who authored the bill are Presidential Son Ilocos Norte Representative Sandro Marcos and House Speaker Martin Romualdez. But where will the initial funds come from? The measure proposes a seed money of 250 billion pesos from the founding government financial institutions or GFIs. 125 billion pesos from GSIS, 50 billion pesos each from SSS and Land Bank of the Philippines, and 25 billion pesos from the Development Bank of the Philippines, and another 25 billion pesos from the national government. Finance Secretary Ben Diokno says these GFIs have already committed for the funds. Diokno adds that the private sector is welcome to join and invest in Maharlika.
Anybody who's willing to invest in that fund are welcome. Okay, so could be international, could be private sector.
Diokno also touts that his fellow economic managers and even President Bongbong Marcos is supportive of the bill.
This has the imprimatur of the president. In fact, the creation of the wealth fund. Yung concept ng sovereign wealth fund. Nung nag-umpisa yan nung nasa BSP governor pa ako.
Ganon.
We want to create a fund na will take care of future generations of Filipinos.
The finance chief adds once the bill creating the Maharlika Fund is passed into law, this may be operational sometime next year.
Depends on how fast the governing council can be constituted. No? I think give it another 6 months from the passage before it becomes operational.
However, House Ways and Means Committee Chairperson and Albay Representative Joey Salceda raised concerns about some provisions of the bill. Under the Board of Directors, the Chairperson and Chief Executive Officer shall be representative of the GFI with the biggest fund investment. The Maharlika Investments Corporation or MIC shall be responsible for the overall governance and management of the MIF.
Ideally, in the whole world, in the financial sector, the chairman and the CEO cannot be the same person. They are separate. And I take a very strong position on this. Commingling CEO in chair position in a government fund could be prejudicial to accountable governance of the fund.
Diokno says the proposed Maharlika Investment Corporation that will oversee the management of the Sovereign Wealth Fund must be independent and should not be identified with the sitting president.
Sabi ko, just make sure that it is not identified with the president. So that whoever is the president, nariyan lang siya, but he cannot meddle with the use of the fund. You really have to have a governing council that is totally out of government.
Private sector lahat.
Private sector.
Pero
I
still,
think that Secretary of Finance is a member of that. Just one member.
For News 5, Marian Enriquez, we are One News.
On the flip side, one economist says that it is not the right time for the government to put up a sovereign wealth fund. Calixto Chiquiamco told the chiefs that the country is in a fiscal bind from the COVID-19 pandemic. The economist also pointed out the possibility of the funds being exposed to corruption.
One is the right time is when you have a lot of surplus, fiscal surplus. But as you know, because of the pandemic, our government now is in a very tight fiscal position. Secondly, there is a danger of corruption, of politicization of the investments, etc. So, what kind of rule of law do we have? I think the right time to set up a sovereign wealth fund is when we have a rule of law.
And another economist believes that the establishment of a sovereign wealth fund is good in principle. John Paulo Rivera told Business World Live that funds are usually sourced from a budgetary or trade surplus and not from state-run pension funds.
Getting it from like what has been mentioned earlier in the SSS, in the GSIS, would be some sort of problematic because recently we have been experiencing some constraints in funding the benefits of the members of these organizations.
And the national government is looking to provide cheaper agricultural products through its Kadiwa ng Pasko program. Brian Castillo with the report.
The House Committee on Banks and Financial Intermediaries has already approved in principle the proposed bill seeking to create a sovereign wealth fund that will be called Maharlika Investment Fund. A technical working group has been formed to fine-tune the measure. The objective of the MIF is to pool funds from government financial institutions and channel them to diversified investments such as bonds, foreign currencies, stocks, and even commercial and real estate projects with the end goal of achieving financial gains and ensure profitability. Among the 5 lawmakers who authored the bill are Presidential son Ilocos Norte Representative Sandro Marcos and House Speaker Martin Romualdez. But where will the initial funds come from? The measure proposes a seed money of 250 billion pesos from the founding government financial institutions or GFIs. 125 billion pesos from GSIS, 50 billion pesos each from SSS and Land Bank of the Philippines, and 25 billion pesos from the Development Bank of the Philippines, and another 25 billion pesos from the national government. Finance Secretary Ben Jok
You're still watching One News Now. I'm Sean Yao. NAIA is implementing new measures to improve passenger experience this holiday season. Gerard De La Peña with the report.
NAIA is now getting busier as the holidays draw near. Daily foot traffic at the airport is estimated at around 115,000 and could balloon to as high as 130,000 in the coming weeks. The crowd at the NAIA Terminal 1, though, is still pretty much manageable. The Manila International Airport Authority attributes this to the removal of initial security inspection, particularly the use of baggage scanners upon entry. Airport officials said they have been looking to implement this even before a blog ranked NAIA as one of the region's most stressful airports.
It's really to improve yung passenger experience. So basically, we're just following other international airports. They're also adopting this in Cebu and Clark.
The e-security check is now in effect at the Terminal 1 and soon in Terminals 2 and 4. It will take some time before this can be implemented at the Terminal 3 since non-passengers also enter its premises. Authorities assure the public that the airport remains secured.
Yung initial security screening kasi, it's a risk-based option eh. So, ang ano talaga natin is yung ma-intensify yung final security screening. Kasi yun naman talaga ang mandatory.
The MIAA has also started implementing terminal reassignments. Philippine Airlines flights going to and from the US, Canada, and the Middle East have been transferred to Terminal 1. This was able to free up space for 7,000 passengers daily at the Terminal 2.
Alam niyo naman ho yung Terminal 1 is mas maluwag, yung mga gates na mas malaki. So, para rin ho sa pasahero at sa mga tourist po, pag nakita ho nila at na-experience, mas babalik ho sila.
For News 5, Gerard De La Peña, We Are One News.
Manny Pacquiao and Hussein have responded to the recent cheating claims made by referee Carlos Padilla in their boxing match back in the year 2000. Marty Bautista with the report.
Tell your cousin or your uncle Carlos Padilla that he owes me one belt. Carlos took it off me and gave it to someone else. So if you can talk to your uncle and tell him I need my belt.
This was retired Australian boxer Hussein's message to Manny Pacquiao after boxing referee Carlos Padilla recently admitted to fixing the fight between Hussein and Pacquiao back in 2000. Pacquiao won via TKO in the fight, but Padilla says he favored the people's champ in several calls. In an interview with News 5, Hussein expressed frustration against Padilla, whom he called a criminal.
It wasn't a good experience, but I just wanted it to be even playing fields when we got in the ring. So they really made it hard for us to win. And then they made it even harder by putting a referee who I'm going to say is a criminal because he did a criminal act. He cheated.
But Hussein clarified that he has no bad blood with Pacquiao. He said both of them were victims.
Mate, he's got a legacy that's, that no one's going to overtake. He's phenomenal. He's a freak athlete. And Manny's the kind of guy that went out on his shield. He got beat, he come back and fought again.
In a separate interview with News 5, Pacquiao, an 8-division world champion, denied Padilla's cheating claims.
Wala namang problema sa akin yun dahil yung sinasabi niyang issue, hindi naman totoo yun at may video naman. Panoorin nila and then sila maghusga kung may mali ba o favor ba na ginawa ang referee para sa akin.
For his part, veteran sports writer and analyst Kenito Henson, who was one of the commentators of the bout, saw nothing wrong in the fight. He said Padilla was wrong in claiming that he gave Pacquiao enough time to get up after getting knocked down in the 4th round.
Wala ako nakitang anomalya. Carlos Padilla said that it took 18 seconds for Manny Pacquiao to get up. If you look at the tape, and I've reviewed the tape many times, I couldn't count to 18. In fact, when Manny got up, the count of 5 or 6, there were still a few seconds left before referee Padilla finished the mandatory 8 count.
Henson also noted that Pacquiao would have still won since he was leading in the scorecard. One of Padilla's claims was that he let Pacquiao get away with a headbutt. Padilla has yet to respond to reactions over his revelation. Prior to refereeing the Pacquiao-Hussein fight, Padilla became known as the referee in the boxing match between legends Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier, dubbed Thrilla in Manila. He was also recently inducted into the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame. For News 5, Marty Bautista. We are One News.
And for more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News Live anytime, anywhere. I am Sean Yao. We are One News.